Welcome to Gen X Rated Tuesday edition. What's up, fellas? Gene's on the road, it looks like.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm at the South Newt Rockney Plaza in Rolling Prairie, Indiana, charging my Elon Musk mobile, which I bought before this guy turned into a complete fucking douchebag. He was only half a douchebag when I bought the thing, but they had the charging infrastructure, so I didn't have much of a choice. Anyway, we're headed west to Omaha. It's snowing out. The weather sucks. And when you travel with your wife and it's been a couple months, you might, you get a little chirpy with each other and you bicker back and forth a little bit. So we were trying to prepare for this show by her reading me information, but it kind of turned into a fucking quiz and a test, and I got a little frustrated with her. So now she's giving me side eye, and she's not going to give me snuggles tonight. That's all I know.
Producer Melissa.
Women are smarter, Gene.
She gave me some good info, even though I guess I'm just irritated because I'm sitting on my ass and my back hurts, and traveling is not easy for someone who played in the NFL for almost a decade. It's all these things you have to take into consideration: how you fly, how you drive, because you're just so fucking beat up. How often you stop because you got to get up and move around. So I may be a little cranky and throw a few brain farts at you, but I'll do my best today. All right.
All right. Fair enough.
Roll one for the Gipper, Gene, since you're at Newt Rockney Plaza.
That's right.
Fair enough.
Good one, Billy. So we're going to start with a little bit of politics, just really quick on the confirmation hearings for Secretary of Defense. Hegseth was up there. He forgot one of his kids' names. He seemed to not be able to tell the truth about anything. He didn't want women in the military. Now he'd gladly have women in the military. Maybe not the highest ranking, but now, yes, for sure. Really tough to get a gauge on this guy and what's true and what isn't. Any thoughts on this fellow?
I think the guy's a born liar. I think he'll lie about anything, and whatever he says during this hearing should not be held as truth. I think he's a liar. I think he's homophobe. I think he hates women. He's committed sexual assault. He's a Christian nationalist white supremacist. And he's, the military, there's enough problems with white supremacists already in the military. We know that. But these guys, their plan is to get rid of everybody who's impartial and doesn't bend the knee to Trump. And that should terrify everyone who gives a shit about democracy, because that is a line you don't want to cross.
Yeah.
I mean, in the 30s, the German military had to swear allegiance not to Germany, but a personal allegiance to Hitler. So, yeah.
That's a little scary.
Alarm bells should be ringing, and yet these Republicans are happy to bend the knee.
Yeah.
It's terrifying.
This seems like the probably the best person. If he gets through, then it's a free pass on everybody. I think we saw that Gabby Tulsi, what's her name?
Oh, Tulsi Gabbard.
Yeah, that hers has been postponed indefinitely. That to me tells me that something went seriously wrong. But this guy's next on the list of very scary people.
Mm-hmm.
It's in the media already, the shit that he said from his past, and he's just kind of a party boy who found Christ, and now we're all going to suffer, I guess.
He found the worst version of Christ. He found the antichrist version of Christ. None of that turn the cheek and look out for people and be kind and beware of rich people. He found they've mocked up this blonde-haired, blue-eyed version of Christ who's a muscular bodybuilder guy who wants to smite everybody and he's going to kill everybody. Like, I don't think so.
Yeah, that really wasn't the message.
Yeah.
I think you hit the nail on the head with it's the falling in line thing. I mean, whatever our dear leader wants, this guy's clearly going to do. It's also telling when you look at guys like for the inauguration, flags are at half mast because of Carter, which makes perfect sense. It should be 30 days. They want to cut that a little bit short because of Trump's inauguration. It would look bad. So, of course, Florida, this gentleman here, Mr. DeSantis, in his love boots, he seems to be, the flags are up and he's ready for this inauguration. The other person would be this guy, Abbott, the governor of Texas, also.
Wheels. Hell on wheels.
I mean, the priorities would be, showing your respect to a past president. You would think any president coming in would have that feeling, but apparently it's all about Trump. And we see it even with the wildfires. It's all about the Democrats' message. We're going to put restrictions on any money we give them. I heard none of this while Texas was freezing over and they had no energy. I heard none of this when Florida was underwater and people were losing their lives. So
Yeah.
I just don't know the direction we're going to be heading in with this kind of blind faith in following a guy who's really not that smart.
Yeah. I mean, these guys, the GOP is like that kid that you grew up with, that worst kid that if he was losing, he flipped over the board, he changed the rules, he lied about everything, he threw you under the bus for shit that he did. I mean, that's who these guys are and gals. And it's so disturbing. They're just fucking spoiled kids.
Yeah, I would agree. There was a 60 Minutes piece, or at least with the CEO of Chase, Jamie Dimon, and I thought it was kind of telling because here again is a guy, I'm not saying he's the devil by any means. He does have $2.6 billion in net worth. But in his interview and his lack of surprise why Trump won, he kept saying he went around the country and people really wanted pro-growth and pro-business and less lecturing on social values. That really was the issue with why the Democrats lost. Can you tell me, did we not have low interest rates? Was the market not ever as high as this? Like, where's the connection, Gene?
Well, I mean, there was an infrastructure bill. Biden created a ton more of jobs than Trump ever did. They'll blame that on COVID, of course. But
every month, he's the only
correct.
president that had job growth every month.
And he had to get us out of a COVID pandemic, which if we'd all had universal health care, by the way, we would have saved, 350,000 lives in America. That's right. Another story. Back to Hegseth real quick, because fuck Jamie Dimon. My biggest problem with Hegseth is, how is the dude even qualified? How are a lot of these people even qualified? At least when they used to put fucking Nazis up, they had some qualifications.
I had a law degree.
Going to an Ivy League school. My daughter happens to go to an Ivy League school. When she graduates, does that mean she's qualified to be fucking Secretary of State? Of course not. So this guy,
she's already more qualified than this guy.
Just because you were in the reserves or just because you have an Ivy League degree, we got to get out this notion that makes you qualified for shit. The dude was a weekend Fox News host, which means he had 5 days a week to drink as much booze as he possibly could. And he's a degenerate fucking alcoholic who said he would only quit drinking if he got the job. So, I mean, we're not even, I mean, kleptocracy, oligarchy, whatever. These guys aren't even related to Trump, and they're the worst of the worst and completely unqualified. The more unqualified people he gets through, the faster America will crash and fucking burn, obviously, because Americans have a certain sort of attitude. I mean, again, we're 11, 12, 13 countries, all in the United States, depending on when we got here, how we got stuck in the Appalachians, or how certain blacks got stuck in the South after slavery, or some migrated to Chicago for the meatpacking jobs. So we're a lot of different countries in this country. If we have no leadership, if we have no moral compass, if we have nothing, we're going straight to the shithole. I mean, we will be a banana republic faster than shit. And it won't matter to Trump because you got Bezos bribing $40 million to his illiterate fucking reading shit upside down wife, who possibly could have been a sex worker herself. Go ahead.
Not to interrupt you, but I saw a thing today where they talked about her $40 million from Amazon to make her story. And the guy basically said it should be either a reel on Instagram or just a short, because you could probably do it in 12 minutes, honestly. He listed her accomplishments.
Yeah, and parts of it won't be safe for work, just heads up.
And again, these whole, Melissa and I have been seeing a whole lot of documentaries from like Demi Lovato to all these stars that have done all these horrible things, and then they have these documentaries that they're literally producing themselves that aren't real, they're mockumentaries because they're highly produced. The only one we ever liked was Demi Lovato's, because halfway through making hers, she had a drug relapse, almost overdosed, quit the whole thing, and then started a real documentary, and literally had people sitting down, and they're like, "You want me to tell the truth? Like, not like me. You want me to tell? Go ahead, tell the story." And then you got the real story about Demi Lovato. Everything is fucking marketing, dude. Everything is bullshit. Hegseth is so not qualified. And back to Jamie Dimon's dumbass. I heard that idiot say rich people's billionaire success has nothing to do. It's not correlating at all with how the misery everybody's suffering in the middle class and below the middle class right now. One thing has nothing to do with the other, he says, as their tax cuts are getting ready to expire, and then they're going to go through reconciliation and try to get another 10 years of ripping the middle class off.
Because that's who's paying for it.
Yeah.
The rich are eating us right now. If we don't eat them, again, they've buried Luigi. There's the 95% of us, and then there's Luigi, but they control Luigi because they're the 1%ers that control all the media. They control the police departments. They control all the politicians. So they just bury the guy. He's one of the most popular. I mean, the guy was getting 10,000 new followers a day while he was in jail on Twitter. I think that's since tapered off, my wife said. But that being said, the reason it's tapered off is because we don't talk about it anymore. They've literally gone like media silent on this dude.
Yeah.
So it's up to all of us to mention his name every podcast anybody ever has. And oh, by the way, if you put me on the jury, I don't think this guy's guilty. You haven't proven shit to me. So good luck with that. Good luck with finding 12 jurors, unless they decide to rig that shit too, because they have a judge who's married to a retired pharmaceutical Pfizer rep, and she's not recusing herself. You can't even make this shit up. So
I knew that was coming.
You literally can't make this shit up.
The rich are eating us right now. If we let them, they will.
And even him at his 2.6 billion of net worth, and he did start a bank in Harlem, and he reaches out as much as his little arm can. He's cautiously pessimistic about the future with the economy and Trump coming in. I don't know how you have that kind of net worth. You're the job that you have. He's not looking to retire anytime soon. He may become the chairman next of Chase, and you're cautiously pessimistic.
Yeah,
how do I feel?
What do you have to? Yeah, right. Like, what does that guy have to be pessimistic about?
And by the way, they don't create jobs, as Tom Hartman eloquently points out every fucking show he does. People buying shit creates jobs.
Yeah.
If you have a product I don't want to fucking buy and nobody's fucking buying, there's no jobs to be created, asshole. We create jobs by buying shit. So that's a huge gaslighting tactic they use, acting like they're the job creators. And that, oh, by the way, their whole $2 billion plan right now to get these tax cuts is they're literally, I can't remember which think
Medicare, Medicaid
coming out, where they're going to come out and lobby the shit out of this. They're going to have little town hall meetings with people going, we're the job creators. They're going to send job creators out all over the place and try to gaslight the idiots into voting against their own best interest again.
Because they just did it a couple of months ago.
10 years. It's incredible. And I don't even know what to say about it. I'm stunned to silence, dude. I mean, I'm not that smart of a guy, but I know they're fucking you over. And, I got all mine in the fucking 90s and then saved it. And then, I adjust to every idiot that comes in every 4 years and see what the hell they're going to do to my 401k, which I can't collect on yet. I just started collecting my pension at 55. Nice. So really, this is for all the younger people. What they're going to end up doing to you. You are going to live in a dramatically different world than we grew up in the 80s and 90s and the early 2000s. And it's going to suck, man. It's going to suck.
We got to try and keep that from happening. I think, again, people need to be educated and informed to most of what's happening. It doesn't always have to be like, on a negative rant. And I'm not saying we are, but my point is, we got to work towards solving it by not just being pissed off about it.
Is it a negative rant to hate billionaires or just say fuck billionaires, though? Is that a negative thing to say fuck?
I don't think so.
I mean, Bernie Sanders came out last week and literally said, weirdly, he has the same cutoff I do, $999,999,000.99. After that, we tax your asses at 100%. Bernie Sanders and I are kismet on
Yeah.
that.
Mhm.
And again, this is
Well, it doesn't stop them from earning. It just is they're going to be taxed on it properly. That's all.
Yeah.
You can still keep making your nut, but it's one of those things. You got to pay your price, pay the price. Put
at
back
some
in.
point, and that price is debatable, but it certainly isn't. How many billions is Elon Musk worth now? I mean, my God, that's ridiculous. He shouldn't have.
Mhm.
He shouldn't
crazy
have
numbers.
1/10 of that shit.
And then he files his taxes, and he's on average is paying 6%, whereas most people again are paying 35%. Some of the higher class workers or earners would be closer to almost 50%. So
That's ridiculous.
I don't feel too bad for the corporations. I think we know in the past what their tax rate was and what it's been the last 20 years. It just doesn't correlate to taking care of a middle class, which we're slowly or quickly losing.
Oh yeah, I mean, they're just hollowing it out by the day, and it's the backbone of a society.
It's a must, and it was
really
magical that we were actually able to do that in our past history. But
well, that's a whole other thing that I can talk about for a long time, because after the Second World War, we had no competition. We had this once in a lifetime opportunity. I mean, Japan and Asia were in ruins. Europe was in ruins. We had become the wealthiest country in the world, right? So we were able to fund the rebuilding of Europe, and we got lazy. We got cocky.
I'd mentioned the GI Bill, but that didn't take care of everybody.
Depending on your pigment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sadly.
So, but yeah, long story short, Japan and Germany weren't producing any steel, so we had the monopoly on it, and there were good times. Unionized. We lived in Pittsburgh. It was boom time, 50s and 60s. They made good money. They were able to, have a single working parent, stay-at-home mom, maybe 2 cars, send the kids to good schools. They lived in the suburbs, take a vacation. It was a great standard of living. And then
we did prioritize education under that too.
A lot of new schools.
Yeah.
New schools.
Yeah, for the fucking boomers, for the very generation right now that is in power.
Yep.
Not giving us nice fucking things.
Mm-hmm.
And all their fucking kids were born in the 60s, by the way. Yeah, these motherfuckers, they're rape and pillaging us. And
they are.
But again, it's not, I don't think it's a negative connotation to say fuck billionaires.
No, it's not.
I agree.
We've created so many in my life. How many billionaires were there in 1968 when I was fucking born? 2?
Yeah,
1? I don't even fucking know. It's obscene now. And,
that's a good word for it.
How many billionaires are there? How many Waltons are fucking billionaires? How many how many great grandkids of the fucking original owner of Walmart are billionaires? This is getting obscene. It's ridiculous. Yeah. And all it requires is a proper tax code, and just, I don't know, change the narrative on billionaires would feel a lot better if they fucking paid a lot more. I know that they're fucking miserable. All they do is hoard money and compete with each other. They're not even happy. And then we got to deal with their unhappiness with any pet project they come up with, whether it's Betsy DeVos fucking up every public school in the country or Elon Musk stealing NASA's money to fly dick planes to Mars. I mean, dude, enough already. Enough. We used to have all this shit in the public sector. When we grew up, our garbage men were city workers. The post office job was a pretty nice fucking job. They had a pretty good union. Our plow guys were, you didn't have to hire a private plow guy to plow your fucking streets. And now in California, the rich are going, hey, any private firefighters out here to save my house? I mean, that's fucking debased. That's fucking ridiculous, man.
It is.
It seems very un-American too, I might add.
Very un-American,
but they're separating
very
themselves.
unpatriotic.
You're right. And I wasn't bashing the bashing of billionaires. I'm just saying.
I know.
Yeah.
We just rant on it every show. It's not going to make any progress for us. But you're absolutely right. It's offensive, and the whole thing stinks. But until we get a grasp on it and start to gather together, we're not going to be able to push back because these guys have it all. They have our government. They have all the cash. It's hard to beat that. We're not feeding people, let alone educating them or housing them, because that's socialist, I guess.
Yeah.
My wife, by the way, my wife went to 3 fucking protests in DC in the 2000s. She went to the Women's March,
inauguration,
the Iraq War protests,
in the inauguration.
She fucking put skin in the fucking game. She was there and none of you motherfuckers were probably. And that's what the younger generations have to understand. A whole bunch of people didn't show up for those protests. A lot did, but most of you didn't. This next generation, these next 2 generations, you need to get your asses out there, because if you're sitting at home, they got you. They think they got you.
Yeah.
So if you're out there on the street and they can see you, they're uncomfortable.
You got to be seen. You got to be heard. There's no doubt.
Absolutely.
I would agree.
I would agree.
So since we kind of hit the politics, there's going to be so much more to come just based on these hearings, which are just tough to watch, period.
Ludicrous.
I wanted to jump back to football with Uncle Bill. We had talked a little bit about this weekend's games, and you had this site, which was Brown.
AJ Brown.
Oh, AJ Brown.
AJ Brown, wide receiver for the Eagles, and he's on the sideline getting a little reading in. I don't know if you can read that, but it's his Inner Excellence book, which is not something I've seen on the sideline. I'd be curious if you guys have seen anything like that, Gene or Bill.
Not quite like that. No,
I've seen guys. A bag of weed on the sideline a couple of years ago at a Browns game. I have not seen. You guys remember that?
Yes.
A bag of weed. I haven't seen anybody reading self-help books. Is this a good self-help book? I don't know anything about it.
I don't either. I'd have to do a deeper dig.
Well, it went to #1 on the Amazon bestseller list.
Did it really?
Day. Yeah.
No shit.
His buddy's trying to read over his shoulder just to get some.
No, he's an influencer without even trying. He's just trying to get his shit right for the game.
That's right.
And he said he's been reading it for years. He carries it around, and it's working for him. The guy's a stud.
And keep in mind, in this game, he really didn't have very many receptions. He was basically blocking most of the day, and I didn't see him throw that book on the ground because he wasn't getting passes. So
he's definitely an introvert. If you're reading a book with 100 guys around you, you're an introvert. You don't have a lot to say.
Yeah,
so,
good point.
And you can obviously focus because the sidelines are chaotic.
Right,
it is. I mean, I think we've all seen this on the sideline where they got to put the little curtain up.
That guy's taking a piss. I know what he's doing.
Well, the towel guy's holding it up, but he didn't cover all angles.
Right.
I thought it was very funny to see
that anymore, right? They have tents and shit now, right?
A little area.
Not in the 90s.
Just like the dogs at the airport, just take them into that little carpeted area.
Right.
I remember.
I thought this was kind of entertaining too.
Whoa.
Even the staff gets into it.
Wow, right in the trash can, taking a piss.
No. That's into a cup.
It's next to the trash can. You got it pixelated there. I didn't know.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Listen, I can remember barely making it to the locker room at halftime, and you would get in there, and every urinal was occupied because everybody had to go at halftime. And do you remember playing in old Sun Devil Stadium and when we played the Cardinals? How long that walk was from the sideline to the locker room, and then, dude, by the time you walked it and everybody got in the room, it was time to go back.
Yeah.
That's right.
Like half a mile.
Yeah.
Right. Far. You have to piss because you're trying to super hydrate. You never know how much you're gonna sweat. So sometimes you overhydrate and you don't sweat it all out in the first half. Because the other team's offense is on a roll and you're sitting on your asshole half, and then all of a sudden you're filled with fucking liquid.
Mm-hmm.
You got to get rid of it. But the whole thing I remember on the sideline is just either a center or a defensive lineman was always shitting their pants. It was never, dude, guards never shit their pants. Tackles never shit. For some reason, centers were shitting. I heard Jason Kelsey shit his pants once.
Yeah.
I know Steve Everett shit his pants on more than one occasion. And he wasn't going to go out of the game. He wasn't even going to change fucking clothes. He didn't care what Vinny Testaverde's hands smelled like at the end of the game. But
let's think about the equipment guys, all right, for a minute. They'd have to pick up those shitty ditties, okay?
Shitty ditties.
It's disturbing.
That's on the Falcon Inn serving all that greasy ass food, man. Food. So if we get the shits, that's a terrible training table at lunch.
That you could eat ribeye, and I just remember being just flabbergasted because I would eat that shit for lunch, and I would feel terrible for the afternoon practices and stuff. And I can't imagine you guys having to eat that and then go out and perform.
My whole thing with you, the question I would ask you is because I always wore sanitaries, which if anybody doesn't know what that is, I wore a pair of shorts underneath my fucking pants. I didn't just put a jock on all bare-assed after taking a dump and then put on a pair of white pants and go out and play. Did that drive you crazy? Would you have preferred if more players were? I have no idea why people don't wear another layer under
Yes,
that.
please.
That's
Sandy's.
Yeah.
Because those
just to
pants
wear
are.
a jock.
You said last time everything shows. Those pants are like see-through, basically,
Oh, yeah.
and it's not holding much fecal. I can tell you that. If it's coming out, it's
One
coming
skid
out.
mark on Fox News, and you can't take your fucking mind off it for the rest of the game. You're just like, oh my god, poor guy's got a skid mark.
Yeah.
So
But-
you know, wear sanitaries, man.
Please.
Well,
Do
and
it
this
for the
is like
staff.
this is before Under Armour, right? So the sanitaries that we would hand out were cotton.
They were
Remember
literally grays.
Yeah,
Oh,
we'd hand
yeah,
out the grays,
Gray Cottons, yeah.
and under Reeves, instead of getting a bag, you guys would get a roll: socks, jock, t-shirt, and grays. Remember that?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I remember that. Everybody had their fucking system, right, Rose?
I just remember.
Rolls
I remember
versus-
Campo when Reeves came in. You know, Campo's like, "Well, coach, we use the bag system," and Reeves is like, "Yeah, no, we're going with rolls."
That's what he did. And you know me, I never did any of that shit. I just handed you guys my shit and said, "Give me new shit." So I rarely even use the bag because I was roommates with you motherfuckers, so I could get away with stuff.
Oh yeah. Well, the bag just made it easier too. Everybody, you know, you throw everything in your mesh bag. All the mesh bags go in the washer. They go in the dryer, and most of it got dry.
Were those washing machines like specialized to do superheat or shit, or did you guys have to use a special sanitizing soap, or how did that, or did you just wash them like normal clothes?
I don't remember. They were giant.
Yeah, they were pretty big.
Giant washers, and they had special detergent specifically for you guys.
Because they always
Hypoallergenic, I'm
looked
sure.
clean, and they always came out looking pretty brand new. I mean, for the most part. So.
Oh yeah, no, they did a good job. And dude, some of those games, holy shit! Do you remember playing the Panthers in Carolina? It was a Sunday night game, and it was played in a downpour. And the stuff that they used, they fertilized that field. It was literally sewage.
Oh God.
So gross.
And I don't know if you remember this, but dude, we got back to Atlanta in the middle of the night, and we're unloading all
like shit.
Literally, dude,
Ew.
that was just so nasty.
That's fucking gross. Like, I mean, my God, that's just. Oh fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Oh well. Yeah, that's gross. I really don't remember that, but I mean, that's gross.
That's pretty gross.
Yeah, that stayed with me.
No, thank
Well,
you.
and usually the sidelines you said were pretty chaotic. Try and mix in a equipment guy telling a all pro guy what he should be doing during a football game. Now, just for some context, this is where your place of business. The players, it's all about the players. The game is all about the players, not about the staff, not about the trainers. It's about the players. So my welcome to the sideline was, I think it might even have been preseason, but Morton Anderson was about to have a fairly big kick at the end of the game. I worked with Mort daily, so I felt that maybe I could approach him, and I found out pretty quickly that you don't. Let the guys play the game. Super guy. He wasn't a dick or anything about it, but you just kind of learn. Give the guys your space. Your support staff. Support these guys. And I know Uncle Bill had a story about Dolman.
Oh man, and Chris Dolman, Hall of Famer, rest in peace. Awesome guy, just a total pro, or just and a good human being. But yeah, there was what was it? His one of his ear pads got knocked out of his helmet, right? And one of the equipment guys, one of our staff guys, went to grab it off the field, and our head equipment guy at the time stopped him. He's like, "No, don't go get that." And so I'm watching the field. I'm watching this helmet on the field and this ear pad. And the next thing I see out of the corner of my eye is Dolman just taking out Campo, pancaking him. And Bill Kolar, the D-line coach, had to like step between them. And I asked Kolar about it later, and he's like, that's no big deal. These things happen.
Well,
So Campo was like disrespecting Dolman, trying to teach him some sort of fucking like lesson.
Yeah. And you know what's funny? Just maybe like a month before that, on the bus back to the airport after our last preseason game, Chris Dolman had special shoes. They were red and black. They were Nike shoes just for him. He was a Nike guy and, very high profile guy.
And at the time, only so many people were allowed to wear Nike. Not everybody was allowed to.
Sure.
But we're sitting there on the bus, and I think Campo was sitting behind us, wasn't he? And Dolman was like on the other side of the aisle. And out of nowhere, Campo's just like, "Hey, Chris, what's with you in these red and black shoes?"
Oh
Like,
my God.
what the hell?
Why are you so special that you get
Strike two, Campo?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
And Dolman's like, "Campo, I'll kill you."
Yeah, Campo was, I don't know. Well, he came from a college setting where the students, he was a college student, they were college students, they were it was peer to peer. And then when you get in the NFL, it's like, dude, we're coworkers, but I'm here to fucking win games and you don't matter. So just do shit.
Yeah. Well,
I don't mean to be crass about that, but, and I'm never disrespectful to the staff, but I don't have time for your bullshit. Do what I ask you to do, and I'll be a real good guy. Don't do what I ask you to do. I'm gonna fuck you up because I got the stress of trying to make this team and win games, and don't fucking forget my thumb casts, and don't not pack my fucking special equipment. Just do your job so I can do my job. And
it's your office, so to speak. That's where your place of work.
Campo sometimes just took that shit too personally.
Yeah.
Or thought he had the right to ask questions he really didn't, because Chris Dolman's thinking about football. He's not thinking about his fucking red shoes, and he doesn't want to answer your stupid question. So, but live and learn. That was a long time ago.
He didn't even want that job, really. When I came in, he was the number 3 guy. So he was the guy that worked practice. His job was, to work practice, and he kept everybody entertained. He had fun, man. He would suit up in whatever the other team's jersey was. He ran practice. I mean, he had a blast. He was like, and he was happy. He was happy as can be.
Sure.
And then when the original equipment guy passed away, for whatever reason, they promoted him to the head job, and he wasn't ready for it. I don't think he really wanted it. And they passed over a very popular guy who'd been there for a long, long time, paid a lot of dues. And I don't know what possessed him to pass him over. He was African-American, Horace Daniel, who recently passed away and was just a legend. I mean, they had Horace Daniel Day for him up in Minnesota.
That's right.
He'd been around since the original Falcons started. He
worked for the old man before the old man owned the team, I think.
That's right.
So I'm talking about Rankin.
Yeah. So I have no idea what the thinking was on that decision, but you put him in.
What do you mean you have no idea? They fire black coaches after one fucking year in the NFL. You know exactly why they didn't trust him with the fucking job. These owners want to fucking hire people that look like them, sound like them, went to similar schools like them, and they make these mistakes with inherent bias all the time. So
very true.
But it's just funny because Campo, man, he walked to the beat of his own drummer. He had kind of shaggy hair. He wore that bandana around his hand, and he was just very happy-go-lucky, just a high-spirited, happy dude. And I don't know why they thought that he was ready or wanted that job.
You never know if anybody's ready. I mean, dude, I think you guys were efficient running the equipment.
We had a good crew.
You had it dialed in, so
he
was capable of doing the job. He was just an asshat with a fucking, sometimes, I don't know, bipolar shit personality or something.
He was definitely working through some stuff and tried to get off him a little bit. It does come down to staff. I mean, we basically at the end we're like, hey, maybe you should sleep in a little later. We got this.
You see how nice Rob is, Bill? He's like, we've been sitting on Campbell for too long. We're moving on. Because you and I would just sit here for another half hour and go, that motherfucker did this.
I didn't come to bury Campo because he was a good guy. He was good to us.
We talk to each other like we're talking like without doing a fucking podcast. That's our
sure. I have no problem with that. I just wanted to kind of.
Well, if you don't talk about Campo, let's get back on that fucking the Patriots firing the black guy because Vrabel was ready. Did you guys hear that the black guy's wife's pretty pissed off and might drop some truth bombs? I didn't realize until I read that article, I don't know who wrote it, that Belichick left because he got demoted. Steve Belichick.
Yeah,
that
the
is.
kid.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
Steve
they weren't going to
Belichick.
let him call plays anymore, and then he was out of there. That's a cardinal sin. Probably that was probably strike one for that head coach because
Mhm.
and then then having a 4-13 season, and then Vrabel becoming available.
Yeah, the
Strike
Great
three.
White Hope became available, and
So,
that was
but
a
yeah,
little
I had no idea that Belichick had gotten demoted, or he didn't want him calling plays anymore, and that's why he left. And now he's getting set up for his own head coaching gig here in a few years. The
Yeah.
nepotism is unfucking believable, but it's
I
always
did
been
see
that way. It always will be that way.
the
Mhm.
people at University of North Carolina are a little bit concerned because the staff's coming together very slowly in North
Mhm.
Carolina. I don't know how many people want to go into a college situation with Belichick because their goal's the pros, right? So yeah, he's a legend, but do you really want to go to North Carolina? I mean,
I
that's
have a buddy right now on a group feed that played for the Browns that has been trying to get a hold of Mike Lombardi and Bill Belichick with Bill Belichick's cell number because somebody else on the feed had the number for over a month, and they are not getting back to him. And he
Oh,
wants
wow.
to coach their fucking O-line. So fuck Bill for that. If he wanted to put a fucking staff together, he could. He's probably waiting around for fucking people at the end of the season to see who's fucking available, pulling that shit. And let's be serious. Bill is literally banging someone 40 years younger than him. How much effort is Bill going to put into this job? He's literally just trying to set up Steve, who was a former weed smoker, by the way. Bill literally pulled him into coaching because he was a fucking pothead. And now all of a sudden the dude's going to get his own head coaching gig someday. Who knows how much effort Bill's putting into this? They're throwing cash at him. It's North Carolina. Bill's only going to be around so long. And then you got Steve,
Yeah.
who's not even that old. We'll see what happens. But believe me, people are trying to get a hold of this guy that I know. And they're trying to get in, and he's blowing them off because, I mean, who knows why? The guy's completely qualified. He's coaching right now. So
Sure.
why they're blowing him off, I have no idea. It's bullshit. But this is what they fucking do. This is how they do. They have their group. They have their group of friends, and they got to get a hold of all of them first. And then if there's any left over, maybe you get the gig.
I just don't see a whole lot of people wanting to leave the pro level to go into college with him when he is temporary, and then you're essentially going to be working for his kid, which sounds like a recipe for disaster.
Well, and honestly, can you see him I mean, you played under him, you knew his coaching style, how it was. Can you see like the kids of this generation taking to that kind of coaching?
Dude, he's banging cocktail waitresses 2 at a time. He could be a different guy now. I don't fucking know. He could be a much happier guy. When I met him, well, anyway, we'll have to tell the stripper story when we have more listeners.
Yeah.
When I met him, I don't think his marriage was doing that well anyway, because he's running around asking players, for strippers' phone numbers and
bringing
shit.
some talent
to film a softcore porno, which I'm not going to give you that until we're behind a paywall, motherfuckers. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
But other than that,
because that's gold, Jerry.
What Bill could be a lot different now. I mean, he threw that bone to Mike Lombardi, who wasn't doing shit apparently right now. The GM of I mean, this is crazy. How you can just generate this cash because your name's Bill Belichick and you have 6 Super Bowl rings. He could not give a fuck at all, or he could take this very seriously. I don't have a clue. I haven't talked to him in 25 years.
Well, he's going pretty slowly as putting together a staff is what it sounds like. And a lot of his success over time, obviously, was through Brady. Not to say he's not a great coach, but I saw some of the clips that were talking about Belichick, and just he treated him so poorly. Treated Brady like a fool and called him out in front of guys left and right. I mean, that might be great for college, right? These kids love to be yelled at.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, he definitely treated us like we were. Yeah, I mean, dude, he called me out. I remember him calling me out when I was getting my ass kicked. We were scrimmaging the Chicago Bears, and I was just having a bad week. I mean, Steve McMichael's fucking hard to block. I don't know what to fucking tell you.
Yeah.
And we're watching fucking film, and he's like, look, motherfucker, you should be going to Pro Bowls. This is fucking unacceptable. I mean, he said that to me in front of the entire team, dude. I mean, he'll call a motherfucker out whether they're good or not. And that was the style back then. That shit worked. Yeah. I mean, that's how coaching was back in the 90s. You might be able to bring some of it back. I mean, Dion, for Christ's sakes, literally went into Colorado and said, y'all need to be hitting the transfer portal. I mean, that's as cold blooded as some shit
He got
as
rid of
I've heard in my
rid of
life
everybody when he
that
came in.
Belichick's ever done. So
Yeah, good
these,
point.
He didn't keep
these guys do what they want.
I did hear that he got Dion got a call from Jerry Jones, see if he might be interested in that cowboy job.
No
That
way.
would be a circus.
I heard he was
Yeah.
interested in the Raiders job, but the Raiders weren't interested in him.
Yeah, I did hear that, but Jerry Jones, and this is Prime's take, was that Jerry Jones called him, reached out to him. They're going to continue having talks, but here's something: there's no way Prime leaves this Boulder gig. I mean, it's beautiful. He can run his whole system of all about
yeah.
Prime.
He's
Why
got
would
an
you go into
NFL
pro?
staff. He's got an NFL staff. He's got Pat Shermer calling his fucking plays. I saw Warren Sapp on
Warren
the side.
Sapp, yeah.
Yeah, and he doesn't have to do shit except like be Dion. He
That's
doesn't
right.
have any coaching. He is not doing X's and O's. I mean, there's lots of head coaches out there that don't do any X's and O's. You don't have to do X's and O's. Baltimore's head coach Harbaugh was a special teams coach. He doesn't fucking know offense or defense. He's making that shit up. He's just
hire good coordinators.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are you listening, Mike T?
I think he should stay there until he wins a natty because he's this close because he can get the recruits, man.
Yeah.
I would wait it out and at least try to play in a national championship game or get in the playoffs before I booked. It's too soon, and he can get players to Colorado that nobody else can get.
For sure. I mean, look at Notre Dame. I think they spent $30 million on their transfer portal.
Is that what they spent
for a national championship now?
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what it costs you now. 30 mil, huh?
Give or take.
A small price to pay.
Give or take. Better have something for the officials too, just in case.
These players,
you get you a billionaire booster sponsor, and you're okay.
What'd you say, Bo?
You get you a billionaire booster sponsor, and you're farting through silk.
And I just said you better unionize. These players should unionize. I know a couple Ivy League teams have tried to do it in the past, but if these guys all got together that were in the NCAA and unionized, I mean, make even more money, man.
Yeah.
Why not?
Did you know, and I found this out, that the NFL equipment guys and trainers used to have a union?
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And what happened?
I don't know. It fell apart. That I didn't know, but I don't think it lasted too long.
Union people, equipment managers and trainers are busy as shit. Who's going to be the representative from the trainer staff and the equipment staff when these guys are working you 90 hours a week? That's why it fell apart, because these guys couldn't be active participants in their own fucking union. They would have to rely solely on some lawyer.
And I'm sure ownership wouldn't have been thrilled by it, and they would have been like, "Hey, you can either stay in your cute union and wear your little."
Hey, Rob, what did I tell you about billionaires? Fuck owners. Fuck billionaires.
They're billionaires.
Or you can be fired.
Why are they called fucking owners? I mean, it's very slavish.
It is very slavish.
Fucking
They
owner.
are.
Come on,
that
man.
right? I mean,
aren't they just CEOs contractually? Do they literally put owner on a football club? I mean,
they do.
That's ridiculous.
They love. Well, do you remember when right before Dion left the Falcons to sign with the 49ers, right? And it was evident Atlanta didn't want to pay it, and he came right out and said, he's like, "There's a plantation mentality around here."
I remember that.
Yeah, and there was one old school writer that covered the team was outraged, but was he wrong?
No.
I went and played at the plantation right after he left.
Hey, guys used to love to golf at the plantation, okay? Coaches in particular.
Yeah, I made a lot of tee times there.
You could go get a fucking hooker on Ponce de Leon at the plantation if you were a coach, and then come back and beg for mercy. All sorts of weird shit happened on the plantation.
A lot of weird shit.
Gosh, yes.
So yeah, but I understand what they're saying. And dude, it was different playing in the South. Again, from the food choices to just the attitudes. Just how the upstairs ran versus the downstairs, how they did shit. It was just, and a family-run team versus a corporate team, someone that doesn't need the money, is a totally different thing too. I played for all the teams I played for were family-run teams. Joe Robbie, Modell's, and then the Smiths. I played for teams where these owners needed the money from the team to pay their family and shit. Jerry Jones doesn't need that shit, I mean, he's got other money. Steinbrenner had other money, Steelyard money, shit like that.
Shipyard money.
Then they just called him the chairman of the board. That seems cool.
Yeah. Well, and Al Davis had a weird title. He was like, what was he? Senior managing partner or something
Yeah,
like
how
that.
did he finagle that team to be the quote unquote owner with being going from coach? How did he do that?
I'm still not exactly sure. I mean, he started out as coach because that
Right.
team originally they were called the Seniors, and they played on a high school field.
The Seniors.
Seniors.
Wow.
They played on a high school field somewhere in the East Bay, and this was like with when the AFL,
AFL, yeah.
first came in.
Sure.
It was very low budget,
Right.
and he came in. He was originally head coach, and he worked his way up. I mean, Al Davis was smart. He was nothing if not smart and clever.
Yeah.
And
for sure.
mean and fucking yeah, dude, he'll stomp on some balls. Yeah.
Mhm.
No doubt.
Yeah, but at least
But-
he's not looking at guys' junk, okay?
Well, he's not talking about looking at guys' junks. He might have
Yeah.
been looking at all the junk he wanted, but at least he's not fucking going on national TV going, "Hey man, my left tackle, what a fucking hog on that guy." So, thank you, Jerry. Thank you.
Words
thank
Al
you.
Davis never uttered. Yeah.
Yeah, correct.
But it was they do NFL Films did that thing. Do you remember? And they used like AI models. It was Pete
Yes.
Rozelle and Al Davis.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
That's
And
pretty good.
So it was good, but it was creepy.
It was
my
creepy.
God.
Whoa.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Al had a way about him. Let's show a happier we'll go happier on
Show
that.
70s. There you go.
There you go. That's
A little
the Al
better.
I remember.
Yeah.
We can even show
Al at the end.
you
Lord,
can even show a cool one if you want.
oh
Mhm.
yeah.
There you go.
He took that
But-
shit over. That team has a lot of, a lot of its attitude comes from him. A lot of its whole persona is his persona, I would say.
Yeah.
to this day.
Yeah.
Well, he
So-
loved the deep ball, right? So he was one of the guys who was going to get that ball downfield, and it
We
was
throw the
exciting.
deep ball. We
Cliff
throw the
Branch,
bomb.
Boliknikov. I mean, they had all kinds of guys.
All
Cliff
of his
Branch.
starting quarterbacks smoked cigarettes in the tunnel at halftime. I mean, you couldn't make that shit up. They were awesome.
They
Some
were,
of them
man.
were left-handed and shit. That was really weird. You know,
Now you got this
And then
guy.
we fell into this Junior coming in.
Yeah.
that is the scariest. Like, wow.
He's got the Bonnie Franklin haircut, Billy.
Oh, and a Fredo mentality.
And you see when you see he's a happy billionaire because when you fucking look like that, you need fucking money.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, when you look like a boiled hot dog that's about to be eaten, you need as much cash as you can get. Holy crap!
Well,
that is
Vegas
scary looking.
backed up the Brinks truck for him.
Well, now they have Tom Brady basically running the show as he's evaluating talent and
Yeah,
broadcasting
and that should
games.
be illegal.
Yeah.
I hear he's like illegally talking to or just running that team, which he shouldn't be because contractually he's supposed to be some sort of sports analyst. But I
Yeah.
heard he wanted Detroit's offensive coordinator really bad to be the head coach.
Oh yeah.
So we'll see if that happens. There are no secrets anymore. All this shit comes out, and they just call them rumors. But that
Mhm.
shit's true.
Well,
But
people are so numb to it that it really we could go back to politics on this perspective. I mean, you're dug in. It's your team. I don't care if we cheat. It's okay if I'm doing it. But of course, the other side of the aisle, everybody's a lying, cheating, terrible person. So it's really hard to keep it in perspective when everybody believes their own lies.
Oh
Essentially.
yeah. Well, and the Patriots were really good at it, but I mean, there was stuff that everybody did. Silicone on the jerseys and taping the jerseys. I mean, everybody did that.
Yeah, for sure.
I came into the league when they were still spraying silicone in the showers. I was like, what the fuck are you weirdos doing? All the old linemen were getting sprayed and shit.
Mm-hmm.
They probably all have fucking dick cancer now. And all that shit. I never really did that shit.
Stuff made-
But that's when they started, like, the refs a couple years later
Put it on a towel.
are basically filling you up like they're the fucking TSA, grabbing your sack, making sure you don't have any silicone or stick them on you or,
Yeah.
and then you morph into Deflategate, and now you got to fucking put the goddamn footballs with Price Waterhouse Cooper or some shit so they don't get fucking manipulated. You can't.
Mm-hmm.
There will always be cheaters.
Yeah, and it goes back to like the kicking ball, which was my specialty in St. Louis on game
Work that
day.
ball. Work that ball.
Mhm.
Well, we worked
you worked them through the
It had
week.
to be a certain way. Each kicker
Okay.
liked it their own way. Then I came here, and I who was it? It was Marty Grammatica. was chasing me around the bench, wanted to kick my ass because he thought I fucked with the balls. And I was like,
Oh, he didn't want him touched at all.
correct.
Did
But
he
they work balls
manipulate?
all week.
Mhm.
He wanted him out of the box.
Oh, he wanted to. I've never heard that because when in the early 90s, dude, I would see kickers take the ball,
All week.
dunk it in the hot tub,
Put it in
then
the
go to
sauna.
a sauna, and then brush it with a horse hairbrush,
Yeah.
and then dip it again, and then dip it in cold water. I mean, what
And
are
throw it
these
in the dryer.
fucking idiots
Yeah.
doing? But it was all psychological. Just kick the
Correct.
fucking ball.
And I wasn't fucking with them. The other guy was the San Francisco kicker, Robbie Gould.
Gould, yeah.
Gould, yeah.
And it was the same kind of situation. Eventually, my point was that they brought in a K-ball specialist who worked for the league. He wore his little maroon top and he carried a little bag with him. I was allowed to catch it off the net, but don't be touching that ball any other way.
Hands up.
What was in the bag? Meth? What the fuck do they need a bag for?
They would carry a couple balls in the bag.
His lunch?
Yeah, it looked ridiculous. It looked like a cooler, exactly.
And he
That's
had a little
hilarious.
K. Did he have a little? Was he wearing a little shirt that said K on it or anything?
He would wear a maroon and he had a black hat because he was part of the officials' crew, essentially. But people like myself wore the K and had to run around if he told you to. I'm not going to go get that ball.
They had the uniform police. Were you ever on the uniform police?
Uncle Bill was.
I was.
Bill had to run around and tell people to pull their fucking socks up and shit.
Yeah, I had my little notepad, and then they, I don't know if they still do it, but all the teams would have like a former player to be the guy. So I would go around with him and make notes, and then I would, get with guys and be like, "Hey, you got to pull your socks up. Hey, you got to tuck that jersey in. Hey, you can't have that towel."
Which is crazy.
Control.
Which is crazy because if you look at some of these guys, the pants are cut at their quads, right? And they're just wearing tights underneath, which is their sock, I guess.
Yeah. So I guess they're not doing that anymore.
I would guess not. Yeah.
Because you had to have the high socks.
Yeah.
I never wore thigh pads or a mouthpiece. That was my only thing.
Really?
Yeah.
Mouthpiece.
I hated thigh pads. It was too much.
Yeah. A lot of guys got away from wearing those.
Yeah. And I don't think they enforce any of that stuff anymore.
Apparently they don't, because you got cut off jerseys, you got cut off pants, like you said, tights instead of the socks.
Yeah, totally different, and nobody seems to care, which is great.
Yeah.
Oh, congratulations to Patrick Mahomes. He and Brittany had their third baby. So
great.
Sports news. I'm just letting you know. Shit off the top of my head. Sports news. They had a third kid. So
I like it.
Great.
Congrats.
Absolutely.
Just to go back on some of our last episode, we talked about moms in 70s sitcoms. We did have one of the listeners tell us about Adrienne Barbeau. We thought she was in Creepshow. She was in Escape from New York. We weren't sure if she was in a sitcom, but Joe very kindly reminded us that she was in Maude.
Yeah, Lena reminded us of that, didn't she? Oh, it was Joe?
Yeah. Thanks, Uncle Bill.
Well, Lena told me on the bench.
Did she?
Okay.
All right. Well,
Joe probably remembers because she has a massive chest. I don't know Joe, but I'm just saying.
Joe, yes, and Joe actually listened to that episode. I'm not sure Lena has.
Oh, nice.
Fair enough, because we were talking about chests, and she probably didn't hear all that.
Lena was our favorite guest, though.
She was, and she promised that she would be back. Some of the sitcoms that she said we missed were I Dream of Jeannie would have been a good one. The Beverly Hillbillies. Now, granted, Ellie Mae was not the mom because they didn't have a mom, but she had a pretty good look.
You think?
Ellie Mae?
I can never tell with black and white.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You know?
I think she was physically fit and ready to jump around.
Yeah. What's physically fit? That's all generational. In the Victorian times, they were chubby and ruberic and shit. So
He'd have been nothing in the Renaissance, man.
And then we get up to the 80s, and every girl has to be shaped like a 10-year-old boy, or she's not hot and shit. It's
That's
like,
right.
And
we went into Barbie mode with a lot of.
I'm a big, large black man. I can't do a little teeny, skinny, mini, twiggy ass little girl. So my chick has to have hips and boobs and preferably long hair and has to like my cooking. That's about
Fair
it.
enough.
Yeah, well, it's interesting, like just how times and eras change. Because moving to San Diego in 2000, I come from Atlanta where everybody was thin and moved to thin, and you saw just really attractive women that actually had a shape on them. They had a butt, they had boobs, they had hips, and you started to see it become, more, and they were like, wearing like cut off shirts and actually embracing that and, showing it off, which was a big change, but it was awesome.
Yeah, I love to see the confidence of women. Do what you want,
Mhm.
wear what you want, be as shapely or less shapely as you want.
Yeah.
Why
Your
do you
will.
think we were such supporters of nightly entertainment at the hotspot? That was support for women, woman power,
That's true.
and just
I agree.
We did our
fully
part.
developed brains and being bored. So, and the buffet. Let's not forget the seafood buffet.
Yeah,
Excellent at every strip bar we ever went to.
but don't eat the shrimp.
But don't eat the shrimp.
No. But it was a great place for your Thanksgiving buffet dinner.
So Adrian Barbeau was in Mod.
Correct. And we talked about maybe revisiting 70s movies, leading ladies as opposed to sitcoms. I was more interested. Gene had a remembering of 50 things, which we're going to revisit next time, of people that grew up in the 70s. There were a lot of toys and a lot of new innovation that came out in the 70s, and they weren't always safe. I mean, I'll only start with jarts, and we're not going to go into this, but good luck finding them now.
No, I like that video because I had forgotten all the fucking dangerous shit.
I know, right? And that thing that clanged, it looked like a yo-yo, but it clanged. They're like, oh, you could really bust your fingers or somebody's eye out.
Oh yeah, dude,
yeah,
you could
but
brain
my
somebody if
hand-eye
they got too close.
coordination is off the charts, dude. I can block anybody because of clackers and juggling and
That was it.
dodging jarts and shit and not getting stabbed in the heart. And
jarts was like horseshoes. You're supposed to throw it into the ring. You're not supposed to take your opponent's
how about a slip and slide? How many scars do you have on your body from hitting a rock underneath a slip and slide?
Yeah.
Tore you apart, but you did it again. Just found the rock, threw it out, and said, okay, we're safe.
Yeah, we're good.
Or the sled we used to use. I mean, I used to go sledding in the wintertime. We'd go up to this church on top of this hill in North Omaha, and you'd have those front-facing sleds. And, dude, we would go through the forest, through the woods. We were like fucking dodging.
Like steel rudders.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But it had that little wooden thing that it looked like a boomerang that you could kind of steer with.
They were amazing. Once you got those grooves going and it got icy out, you could just fly down hills and through trees and go over jumps. And how no one lost a limb or a fucking finger, or I mean, I have no idea, or got a concussion.
I'm sure we got our fair share of concussions, but that was just getting dinged.
Well, and just to compare it, we lived on a pretty steep street, and you would have red wagons, and you put two people in that wagon. You're steering by that single handle, that wheel that will turn around if you fuck it up, flying down the hill. And my question is this: not a single adult cared. Nobody came out and was like, "Hey, that doesn't seem like a good idea. You could get hurt." They were just like, "Whatever."
You guys just reminded me of a funny story I'm going to embarrass my wife with now. Her and her cousin used to have a green machine they used to share when they used to go on the bumpy road down the sidewalk for the vibrations because they're girls. Her and Heather fucking up and down the hill all day long. The parents were like, man, what energy? It's like, no, they're just born way earlier than us. So
we never had the green machine. We did have a big wheel, and then I think I was not bought another one because instead of using the brake, I'd use the toe on my shoes, and I would just go through shoes left and right.
That's fucking funny. Yeah, we were nuts, but we had fun, and we were outside until we couldn't be outside anymore. And then we'd come in and we'd try to avoid doing homework.
Or go build a model.
Yeah.
Some did build many models.
Yeah, sure.
They built a lot of models, but somehow they never got finished.
Well, I say next time we get together, maybe Saturday, we look into a little bit more of that innovation that came out in the 70s, because it wasn't just clogs, bell bottoms, and copiers. There was a lot of dangerous materials that came out that we were allowed to play with, which was cool. I mean, look at the chemistry set that PJ Hogan sold me. Oh my God, I could have blown my house up, but nobody cared.
Those little cap guns that we just take the red incendiary things out and just get hit with a hammer or a rock.
Oh yeah.
Or try to squeeze them in your hand, or hold firecrackers in your hand and set them off, the little ones, and
Yeah,
numb your fingers. I mean, just dumb shit. But you know,
dumb shit, but
They
it was
were all
fun.
really good experiences, and it showed you true leadership because the guy that was smart enough would tell you, "Hey, dummy, what are you doing?"
Yeah,
Then everybody looked to him. He was now the smart guy, and then
Yeah.
you know, he's hucking all kinds of product to us, and he's a congressman in Maryland. Unbelievable.
yeah.
oh, that was the
Thanks,
guy
PJ.
in 16 Candles that borrowed the panties and then charged everybody $1 in the bathroom to hold them up. That's that
Yeah.
guy.
That would have been PJ, the one who took my little UNICEF collection that they gave me from Hebrew school to go around. He's like, you know what? Give me that. I'll take it to my church. It'll get there faster. Okay, PJ.
Gone. Motherfucker went right to the candy store. Or no, he invested it in fucking like Xerox or something.
Probably.
So
Good old PJ. Well,
Yeah.
Gene, we're at the hour mark. It's getting dark where you are, and I'm sure
yeah,
you want
sounds
to
good.
continue on your way.
Yeah.
So if we can on Saturday, let us know your schedule. Maybe we can get back to.
Well, today's
some of
only
the-
Tuesday, dickhead. What are you doing Thursday?
Oh shit! Gosh.
That's right.
Yes, please. Thursday would work. I should
All
be
right.
available.
All right, I'll be around.
Nice.
All right. Be careful where you. Are you going back to that bed that nearly broke your back? Or are you staying elsewhere?
Yeah, but I have Melissa for support, so I'll just lay with her and she'll help me.
Thank God for producer Melissa.
Mhm.
Thank God.
All right.
She's
Well,
the
you guys
backbone of the
drive
show.
safe. I appreciate you making the effort to do this today.
All right,
Yeah.
no problem.
Yeah. Great
I'll
job.
talk to you guys later.
All right. Be
folks.
safe.
All right, bye.
See ya. All right, Billy.
Oh, yeah.
Bye to you.
Oh, you're still with me.